Hey, sweet faces. Welcome to this week's homework assignment where we are looking at graphing. You'll notice that up top we have our first graph for the bake sale. We have a graph for a clothing drive, and then we have our questions. So let's take a look at our first set. This is using graph number 1. So the first one that we came to. How much money was made by selling cookies? So if we look up here, every full cookie is $100. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4.5. So 450, 200, 350, and here is 10 or 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. So going ahead to label them. And we wanted to know how much money was made by selling cookies only. So if we go to cookies here, we have 450. So go ahead, put that in here. Then it says how much more, so comparing language, how much more money was made by selling pies than cakes? So if we come up here, pies was 600, cakes was 200. So we're going to write that in as an equation. 600 minus 200, there is a difference of 400. 400 more was made. How much money was earned from the bake sale? So we need to look at all of them. So we have 450, 200, 350, 600. So 450, 200, 350, 600. I can do these in pairs. I can stack them up, totally up to you. It depends on which way works for you. But if I stack them, I have a bunch of zeros. 5 and 5 is 10. 6 and 4 is 10. 2 and 3 is 5. And 1. So $1,600. How much money was made selling cakes? Coming back up here to cakes, we see that it's 200. How much money was made by selling brownies? Again, if you come up here, brownies, we have 350. And then put the desserts from least to greatest based on how much they earned. So if we come up here, it's going to go cakes, brownies, cookies, pies. So cakes, brownies, cookies, and pies. All right, loves, that's the end of the first page. If you have any questions, bring them with you to class. Looking at our second picture graph, we're looking at graph number 2, and we're answering questions on some donations. So the first two questions, it says, what item had the least donation and how many hats were donated? So let's go ahead up here and look. Each of these hearts is 20. So 20, 40, and half of 20 is another 10. So 20, 40, 50. This is 40. This is 10. And this is 30. So our question with hats, there was 30 hats. What item had the least donations? If we come up here, shorts had the least donations. Second row, how many shirts were donated and how many more pants were donated than shorts? So shirts and then comparing pants and shorts. So for shirts, we had 50. Comparing pants and shorts, we have 40 and 10. It's going to be a difference of 30. So how many shirts were there? 50. How many more pants than shorts? 30. Last two questions. What was the total number of items donated and how many pants and shirts were donated? Well, pants and shirts, we can come right up here and do 50 plus 40 equals 90. Coming over for total items donated, we're going to have to look at the sum of all of them. So 50 plus 40 is 90. 90 plus 10 is 100. 100 plus 30 is 130 items. That is the end of page number 2. Any questions? Bring them with you to class. All right, loves. Graph number 3 is looking at books that were checked out. So if we're looking at these, each one is 50 books. So this is 100. This is 150. This is, oh, I'm sorry. The half is not 50. Wait a minute. A half of 50 is 25. I had the last one stuck in my head. Then we have 50 plus 25 is 75, and down here is 25. So let's go ahead and look at our questions. It says how many books were checked out in January and how many books were checked out in March. So we're looking at January and March. We come up here. January had 100 in books. March had 75. So 100 books in January, 75 in March. How many books were checked out in February and April? And then how many books were checked out for all 4 months? So if we come up here, February and April, we have 150, so 125 plus 25. If we're looking at the total, we have 150 there, plus the 100 for January is 250, plus 75 gives us 325. So go down here and plug in your answers. 150, 325. Which month had the most books checked out and which month had the least amount of books checked out? The most books was February, the least was April. So the most was February and the least was April. If you have questions, go ahead and bring them with you to class. All right, this one is looking at graph number 4. So if we go back up, we're going to take a look at it, talking about pets. First question we're looking at is how many students preferred cats and dogs? Second one is how many students' favorite pets are cats than birds? How many more? So we're looking at cats and dogs together. We're looking at cats and birds as a comparison. So first, starting off with these are twos. So 2, 4, 6, 7, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, and 1. So again, we started with cats and dogs. 7 plus 8 is 15. And then we were comparing cats and birds. So there are our first two answers. So for pets, cats and dogs, 15. Comparing cats and birds, it was 7. Right? I already forget. All right, I knew that didn't feel right. That's why it's helpful when you have it printed out and you can look at it all at the same time. All right, how many students' favorite pets were fish? And how many pets does the whole class have? So looking at fish and then all together. So up here for fish, we have 4. For a total, 7 and 8 is 15. 15 and 4 is 19. 19 and 1 is 20. So we had 4 fish and 20 total. Put the pets in order from greatest to least on how they were chosen. So this time we're doing biggest to smallest. So if we come up here, it goes dogs, cats, fish, birds. So again, dogs, cats, fish, birds. What combination of students' favorite pets can be made to match the number for dogs? So we want to make them equivalent. So if we look at dogs up here, dogs was 8. What can we combine that would also be 8? Cats and birds, because 7 plus 1 is 8. So we can combine cats and birds. All right, loves, that's the end of page 4. Any questions, go ahead and bring them with you to class. We are going to continue on to the last page. So we're looking to complete the graphs, fill in what's missing. So it says that Beth is walking around Westview Mall. She decided to count all the store types and needed help recording her data in the graph to the left. She saw 5 home stores, 15 shoe stores, 45 clothing stores, and 25 hobby stores. Notice down the bottom, each triangle that we use is going to be 5 stores, okay? So starting off with clothing, it's the first one. It's 45, counting by 5's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Oh, I'm not going to fit them all. 35, 40, 45. Let's pretend that that's just one stack. Didn't have enough space. Shoes, 15, 5, 10, 15. Over for hobby. Hobby, we saw 5 in total. Or I'm sorry, hobby, we saw 25 in total. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and home was only 5. So that's what my first chart would look like. Again, for clothing, should have made them a little smaller so they could fit in one row, but we get the idea with that one, okay? Second one, Mrs. Starr's 3rd grade class is trying to determine the most popular favorite color in their class. They took a poll and found that 12 students liked blue, 8 students like red, and 2 like green. We have to put our data on the chart. Over here, we see that every smiley face is 2 people. So if we start with red, because red's at the top, we have 8, counting by 2's. 2, 4, 6, 8. Going to blue, blue had 12. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Green, we had 2, so just 2. And then for yellow, we don't have any, so we're going to leave that blank. Hopefully you caught that trick because I told you the blue, I told you the red, I told you the green. I did not tell you the yellow. No one's favorite color was yellow, so make sure you leave that blank. All right, sweet faces, that's the end of our work for this week. Questions? Bring them to